How many of you, after our welcome party yesterday, rode in a super fabulous vehicle to another place? Did you have fun? Did you feel loved? Did you feel a little bit glamorous? Did you feel a little bit badass? And how was the party? Did you go through the wardrobe? Did you enjoy the backyard? Did you break habits or form new ones? Well, that was really a glimmer in the eye of Thomas Lütken, who is the founder of what he calls Givisme. And the Habit Breaking Palace is a clubhouse basically for artists, for business people here in Aarhus, for people that have generous spirits to go there and to be themselves. And Thomas just has a heart of gold. He's been looking forward to hosting you all for a couple of years now, and that whole orchestration of the event last night was a way for him and his friends to really truly welcome you to Aarhus. You'll hear from him today in just a moment, and then he'll also be doing a session tomorrow at Dawkin with our very own Teresa Duncan, our Director of Philanthropy. But please, in this moment, give a warm welcome to Thomas.
Thank you so much, Megan. That was truly a warm welcome for me up here. And welcome to Aarhus, all of you. Thank you so much for joining us yesterday at this party down at the Habit Breaker Palace. As you know, and might have seen yesterday, the Habit Breaker Palace is truly built with a big heart of Burning Man. So having you there yesterday, was just like having the whole family home for dinner. Thank you. I was just asked today just to give a short story of how we ended up doing these Givisme experiments in Aarhus and how my own story started about it. And we're going a long way back. While telling that, I'll just show this picture of the Habit Breaker Palace area. As you see, back in 1992, way before that I have heard about Burning Man, I was 19 years old and I was on my first trip out in Europe. I was really not traveling that much before that. And then I came on Interrail, if you know that, on a train with a good friend and landed at dark night in Brussels, in Belgium. And that dark night, there was no rooms at all available in any hostel. And we were like terrified. We're standing outside this closed place and, oh, we're going to sleep on the floor somewhere outside this day. And just next to us, there was this elderly couple of these retired people, man and woman, and they said to us, hey, hello, we are actually someone who like to help these young guys that are, or girls that are like alone in this town because the hostels are full. And they brought us home to their home, and it was just like coming home to grandpa and granddad, and they installed us in the best room, and they made breakfast for us and everything. It was like amazing. And put on top of that the next day we found out that this man, he has the hugest network you can ever imagine. So he was like opening a bar to us just because he had the key and serving beers. And he was like sending us to the biggest cinema in the world at that time in Brussels to giving us the VIP entrance, like to have these amazing experiences. So after that, I forgot for many years about the experience, but I'm very sure today it started something, paid forward thing about gifting. So in 1999, I found myself suddenly together with a magician friend in a place so far away from home. Down there, it's me, number 2 from the left. And so This was in Irian New Guinea. These amazing people. We had decided, the magician and I, to go out and give shows to them, these people, because we just thought it could be nice to meet really strangers to us in a way without just looking at them. We could just give them a show instead. And you know what happens? We found out whenever you give something to people, even those you don't know, that they don't expect, you suddenly start to integrate. And we integrated also with them here. I won't let that picture stand long. Yeah, but we became a part of that tribe, and then we continued that travel all around the world. In New York City, we became a part of the drag tribe in the Middle East. That's me as Paris Hilton to the left, and in the Middle East, in the middle of the Danish Middle East Mohammed crisis, we went down there to make friends and said, okay, we don't all burn flags or make drawings, we can make friends, and we made shows, and everybody just wanted to invite us into their castles, like him here. And in 2013, suddenly it became totally crazy. We went to the most murderous street in Honduras, main town, Tegucigalpa, and we created a smiling day where we wanted for one day people to remember that if they just throw smiles on each other each day, it might just a little bit embrace the big fear that is in that town. And we put our hands together with all the participants down in yellow paint and put it on that Volkswagen there, so it could be a symbol of that. And that was transmitted on all the national medias to the whole country people down there. Oh, sorry. So then in 2007, a little way back, I got my first Burning Man experience, and it was like putting, gasoline on a fire of gifting, because I felt so amazed about this concept, about all the 10 principles and gifting, and I followed on the borderland together with many of these great people here today. We had such a good time there, and then I met this guy. He was a burner too, and from Aarhus too. He's called Jonas the Stick Dog, and Jonas was the creative director of a local festival that's very huge in Denmark, and he was just the creative man making the windmills go the other way around, and if you blow into your phone, it starts going around up there. It's quite cool. Actually, it doesn't work, but some guy stands watching for people blowing, and then he turns on the windmill. Yeah. And he invented also these magnificent beer cans you can sleep in down there. So Jonas and I, as two burners, was a very good meeting, and we decided to buy a palace together where we can stay. You know, the Crown Prince has a palace in Aarhus, and we have our own, the Habit Breaker Palace. We just needed a bit of a rebuilding like this here. And inside we have this room. We put the Narnia closet outside yesterday. It's normally between the rooms, and one of them is upside down. And that was our way suddenly of building this radical expression in a town, not only in the desert, but trying to put it in an everyday town, trying to have plenty of people coming in for workshops on innovation and stuff, and finding out that offices don't have to be white and black and gray and steel, and they could also be burner like, so they all just get this very special feeling when they start the day jumping through a Narnia closet. It might be normal to you, but not to many of these people coming there every day. So we found out behind a tall fence at the river down there, there was this beautiful, beautiful place. Some of you were down there yesterday, and we took down the tall fence. We are allowed to that, and then we built this place where people could give for each other. We could tell the whole town, if you have something to give, you can come down and share it, even if it's concerts or if it's poetry or if it's a charity or whatever. This is your free place. You can lend it for free whenever you have something on your heart. We did a small experiment also, and I would just want to tell that shortly, because Givisme doesn't always have to be big projects. This project was that a bit further down the stream, there was this bridge, and under the bridge, there is always 5 degrees Celsius. That is the fridge temperature. So we put in some beers because we wanted to solve one of the hugest problems we think community has. That is, have you ever sailed in a canoe? Please raise your hand. Canoe sailing? Yeah. Then you know, after sailing in a sunshine for a long time, your beers get really hot. So So we put up these beers, and they were always 5 degrees, and we made the program called Beer for Beer, and that means you could put up your hot beer and get a cold one when sailing by. Yeah. Don't you think that is amazing? Okay. So, but what the fun thing was that the communication director of a huge Danish company, she was sailing through and got this cold beer. And what happened when she got this cold beer was that she wanted to write about this in the journalist Danish national magazine that every month has the hate word of the month. What do you say about hate word of the month? And she changed for that month it for the love word of the month and called it Givisme. So, I hope we felt that explains that you could do just small things and it can scale out to the world without you even doing even more for that. We made a lot of different things. We visited. We picked up tourists at the train station and treated them like rock stars. And we picked people up going to festivals, inviting them for 2,000 beers if they just took a zip line. And many of them said, "No, nothing is for free." But we said, "Yeah, please come over and try." And then they never left the festival with us because everything was just for free. And we invited politicians to come here and have in-eye conversation with people. And people came out of my W wagon and say, "Whoa, I spoke to a politician and now I know and understand what he's doing there." So the last thing I would like to tell you about is our biggest project ever. And that project is sending out this guy. You met him yesterday. That is Butler Dam. Convincing people in Aarhus that we should create the biggest welcome committee ever made in Aarhus to welcome all the 20,000 new inhabitants every year, because so many people get lonely in big cities. 1 out of 7 says that they are lonely every day. So we created the Warm Welcome Society. The Warm Welcome Society invites people to the Habit Breaker Palace in many, many small nights in a cozy way of working. And in that way, we hope that we just do our little bit of participating in making this world just a little better. Thank you for listening.
I got a little teary. He's such a beautiful person with such a beautiful message and a beautiful heart. We're so lucky to get to be here.